Here is a concise version of the Bible so that I thought that maybe you may learn from it. Note the events and names may have been changed to improve comic portrayal of this here Bible. So, here we go. In the first book of the Bible, also known as Guinness, God got tired of making the earth, creating the world, so he took the Sabbath off. Adam and Eve were created from an apple tree. Noah's wife was Joan of Arc. Noah built an ark, and the animals came in on pears, like the fruit. The green pears that you eat, they came in on pears. It's wacky. This may be the strangest yet, but Lot's wife was a pillar of salt during the day, but a ball of fire at night. Now Samson, he was a strong man who let himself be led astray by a Jezebel like Delilah. Samson slayed the Philistines with the axe of the apostles. Yes, a battle axe. I mean, what did you think I meant? Moses led the Jews to the Red Sea, where they made unleavened bread without any ingredients. So the Egyptians were drowned in the desert. Afterwards, Moses went up to Mount Sinai to get the 10 Commandments. I'm pretty sure that the first commandment was when Eve told Adam to eat the apple. The 7th commandment is thou shalt not admit adultery. Moses died before he ever reached Canada. Then Joshua led the Hebrews in the Battle of Jericho. The greatest miracle in the Bible is when Joshua told his son to stand still and he obeyed him. And my greatest miracle is if Merrick can ever stop talking while I'm recording this. David was a Hebrew king who was skilled at playing the lyre. He fought the Finkelsteins, a race of people who lived in biblical times. Finkelstein.
Solomon, he was one of David's sons. He had 300 wives and 700 porcupines.
My dad has so many hairs on his arm.
that's true. Looks like Esau.
When Mary heard she was the mother of Jesus,
She sang the Magna Carta. Tell you right now, she did. She did right now. When these three wise guys from the east side arrived, they found Jesus was the manager.
and the top and the last. Christians have only one spouse. This is called monotony.
Jesus enunciated the golden rule, which says to do unto others before they do one to you. He also explained, a man doth not live by sweat alone. It was a miracle when Jesus rose from the dead. He managed to get the tombstone off the entrance. I mean, I can't even back my Toyota. The people who followed the Lord, they were only 12 decibels. I mean, that's not even that loud. Could you even hear that? I mean, sounds like a church mouse. The epistles were the wives of the apostles. Clearly, I mean, from the most natural thought that you might have, I mean, that's clear. One of the opossums was St. Matthew. He started out life as a taxi driver in New York City, you know. Who'd have thunk?
St. Paul wasn't originally Christian, he was Jewish. In fact, he cavorted to Christianity. Preached holy acrimony, which is another name for marriage. I mean, it's what brings us all together today, after all. And the top and the last. Christians have only one spouse. This is called monotony.
So if you haven't noticed by now, these were all actually thoughts that young kids had, and they wrote them down. People were asked them questions, and these were their answers. So have a nice day. Thanks.
We're going to clap our hands.
Nothing can stop us. Nothing can hold us down. Death is defeated. Jesus, you have overcome. Nothing can stop us. Nothing can hold us down. Death is defeated. Jesus, you have overcome. Shout it out, he is risen. Our God is alive in us. Shout it out, he is risen. Our God is alive. You will never leave us. Your love is like the morning sun, shining down on us. Jesus, you have overcome. You will never leave us. Your love is like the morning sun, shining down on us. Jesus, you have overcome. Shout it out, he is risen. Our God is alive in us. Shout it out, he is risen. Our God is alive. Shout it out, he is risen. Our God is alive in us. Shout it out, he is risen. Our God Shout it out, he is risen. Our God is alive in us. Shout it out, he is risen. Our God is alive. Yeah. Shout it out, he is risen. Our God is alive in us. Shout it out, he is risen. Our God is alive.
Is this on? Okay. We're going to go ahead and do our awards before Ms. Kellum brings the message. All right. Sixth graders were involved in the creative writing contest for facts, and we have 2 students who have gotten their ribbons back, and they both were in excellent category and only missed going to state by just a few points. So next time in 7th grade, if you want to be involved in that, you can as well. Braden Blackwell. And Giovanni. Giovanni wrote a Sin Quain on Takis, and then Braden Blackwell wrote a short story. All right, so we're going to start with 6th grade behavior awards. 6th grade still gets those. 7th through 12th grade does not. It's too difficult to go through every teacher and get those awards, but 6th grade still does. And so if I call your name, just come up and grab those. And we also have 3-star students too. She couldn't just narrow it down to 2 of you. Shaliana Ayala. Behavior award. I'll let you know when you're a star student. Nicole. Braden Blackwell. Kevin Collado, who's a star student. If I can get it up. There you are, sir, and don't forget to take that. Mm-hmm. Kaysen Emil, who's also a star student. Bridget Flam. Trip Flam. Kamira Francis. Harley Nicole, who's also a star student. Yours does not want to come off the podium. There you are. Brianna Romero. Let's be respectful and not talk. Giovanni Sarkadiadu. And Jeremiah Tenner. Good job, 6th grade. Now for academic awards. President's Honor Roll deals with straight A's. That means all A's in all of their courses. And we had one, and he's an online learner, and that is William Bates. Let's give him a round of applause. Not easy to be an online learner with straight A's, but he did it. Oh, I lied. Oh, well. I'm sorry. There is another one, and I got you the wrong one, but Shaliana had straight A's as well. Shaliana, I will get you. You can take this one. Yes. I do. And then Harley has principals, and that's A's and B's. All right. Don't know why there's those. Stop. And then we did have one online learner who earned an award, and that was Jalen Wright. Let's give him a round of applause. All right, 7th grade. I haven't said anything yet. Are you pre-clapping? Is that what we're doing? Jessica Harner, President's Honor Roll. All A's. While she's coming down. Principal's Honor Roll, Sophia Robusto. Here's yours, sweetie. And Brianna Eckelberger. There you are. Good job. 8th grade. President's Honor Roll, straight A's, Isabella Robusto. Good job. Principal's Honor Roll, A's and B's, Carter Palmieri. He's an online student. Give him a round of applause. Anisha Jones, also an online student. Alexis Dufort, I think she's absent today, right? Let's give her a round of applause, though. Kiara Alexander. And Adriana Biasillo. Thank you. And there were several of you that were super close in 8th grade in getting that A's and B's, so work towards that in the 4th quarter. 9th grade, we had one Principal's Honor Roll, and that is Katie Sauvel. There you go, Katie. 10th grade, we had one President's Honor Roll, and that's all A's, Marissa Estrada. You're welcome. If you ever want tips on organizing your notebooks and stuff, ask Marissa. She does a great job. For organization, you do a great job. Take good notes. And in our 11th grade, we have one Principal's Honor Roll, and that's Tayshawn Frederick. Good job. And something to know about Tayshawn, some of his classes are self-motivated. That means he has to keep track of everything that he's doing by himself. His teacher is FOVS, and just once a week I let him know what to do. He gets it done, and then he has his A's and B's. So be like Tayshawn and keep track of what you're doing. And when in doubt, those of you that did not get an award this time, I'm going to encourage you to try your best. Please don't speak. A lot of us slack off on the 4th quarter, and some of you, it's super important that you don't do that. I said this to the elementary earlier. This is when you need to buckle down even more. High school especially, and some of those of you that are in the higher math, your EOCs are coming at the end of the year, and those are going to play an important role. Your finals are coming up as well, middle school and high school. This is when you need to start using those techniques that your teachers have been asking you to use all year. So if you haven't done it yet, start it now. All right? All right, Miss Kellen, you ready?
Well, I'm going to ask for some volunteers. I want some groups of friends. Pick your friend. You got to pick a friend to go with you. Come on, you two, I need you two. I know you're close friends. Come on, Nicole, and I need some, anybody else? Come on, I need some friends. Okay, who's your friend? Okay, you go ahead, sit on that side, and you sit here. You sit over there. You sit here. Nicole, you sit over there, and you sit there. Right here, and you go over there, and you stay here. Okay, so sit on the top row in the order that your friend is over here. Sit on the top row in the order that your friend is over there, so you're opposite from them. Okay, so whoever's friends with Harley needs to sit right here. And that's Bridget, and then you're going to sit right there. Okay. Oh, Bridget, I'm so sorry. Kill my own niece. Let's see. There wasn't an extra one there? Oh, good. Thank you. Mr. Harner, do you mind if I borrow some of your old pens back here? Okay, there's a pen, there's a pen, there's a pen, there's a pen. Okay, we're going to see how good of friends you guys really are. Okay, so I'm going to ask some questions, and I want you to answer the question as what your friend would answer. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 questions. So you could number your paper 1 to 6. And so when you answer this question, you answer it as what you think your friend would answer, or what you know about your friend. Because the first question is, what state is your friend born in? What state was your friend born in? Number 2, what is your friend's favorite color? What is your friend's favorite color? Don't look over there. Number 3, does your friend have a pet? And if they do, what's the pet's name? Does your friend have a pet? And if so, what is the pet's name? Harley, answer this yourself. Number 4, if you went to the store to buy a soda for your friend and all they had was Pepsi and Coke, which would you buy for your friend? If all they could buy was Pepsi and Coke, which one would you choose for your friend? Number 6, what is your friend's favorite candy? What is your friend's favorite candy? And the last one, what is your friend's favorite restaurant to eat at? What is your friend's favorite restaurant to eat at? I started to have Isabella and Sophia come up because I have a funny feeling they probably would be able to get all these questions because they're very close friends, even though they're sisters. And probably would know all these answers. Okay, do you have all the questions answered? You have them all answered? Do you have them all answered? Okay. Do you need anything repeated? Okay. Well, let's see how well you know your friend. Tell me where you were born. So where did you say she was born? And she said you were born in Florida, so you got one right, okay? Got that one right, too. Amaya, where did you say she was born? Where are you born? Where did you say she was born? Where were you born? Where were you born? What did you say he was? Were you born in Florida? Did you put Florida down? You put USA first. Well, that's a big state. Okay. Okay, so what's your favorite color? What'd you put down? So what's your favorite color? Lavender. What'd you put down? You put what? Purple. Well, I'll give it to you because she said lavender, purple, but you missed that one on your friend because she said pink. So mark it wrong. What'd you put? Red? What'd you put, Nicole? Okay, so what's your favorite color? You got that right, Bridget. What's your favorite color? You got that right. Good job. Okay. What'd you say her favorite color was? What's your favorite color? What's your favorite color? You got that wrong. What's your favorite color? You got that wrong. She said hers was blue. So you missed that one. You missed that one. What'd you say? Okay, so what'd you say yours was? What's yours? Yours is red. You got that wrong. What's yours? What'd you put? What is yours? Mine is red too. You got that wrong. His is red. Okay, well, y'all are missing on those, so mark those wrong, okay? Okay. I'm getting out of breath. We're all coming back and forth across the stage. Okay, what'd you say? Does Kamaya have a pet? Do you have a pet? You got to talk about pets. That's the most important thing. She doesn't have a pet. Or she does have a pet. You got that wrong. Do you have a pet? What'd you say? 2 dogs and 1 cat. Is that what you have? Does she have a pet? What's she got? 3 bunnies and how many dogs? Man, I haven't seen those many dogs running around at your grandmother's house. Do you have, what'd you say? A dog named, what's your dog's name? You got that right. How many pets, Bridget, do you have? Bridget doesn't even know, so I guess her friend wouldn't know either. So we'll give that to you. Does she have a pet? What's she have? Name? You have what? What do you have? What do you have? Do you have a pet? You have. She has 3 dogs. You got to count that wrong. Do you have any pets? Amaya, do you have any pets? You got that right. She doesn't have any pets. He has a dog? What's his? He has none. You don't have any. You don't have any pets? Oh my goodness. How many pets did you say he has? 1 dog. Do you have 1 dog? Okay. Okay, here's the crucial one. You went to the store and you wanted to know whether they wanted Pepsi or Coke. Okay, Kamaya, what would you want? You got that right. Nicole? She wants a Pepsi. You missed that, Bridget. Amaya? Pepsi. You got that right. What do you want? Ah, you got that wrong. Oh, my goodness. Okay, let me see what you have. Okay, so Harley, what would you want? Oh, cross it out. Bridget, which one would you want? What? Coke? Oh. Brianna, what would you want? Oh, we're missing out on this one. Case, what would you want? Ah, okay. Okay, well, what is your favorite candy? What'd you say? What's your favorite candy? What? Twix. You missed that one. What? Kit Kat? Okay, I'll give you that. That's chocolate. What about you? Hershey. Oh, no. What'd you say? What's your favorite candy? No. Okay, what did you, let's see. So what's your favorite candy? What? Twix. No, she likes the same thing you do, and neither one of you know. Bridget, do you like candy? Yeah, she likes candy. She just doesn't know what she wants. Brianna, you don't know? You don't have any choice? Okay, well, you have to, she didn't want any. And, oh, and what did you put? Or what is your favorite candy? Ah, you got that right. Okay. Okay, so the last thing, where it's a favorite restaurant. Case, what's your favorite restaurant? Chick-fil-A, Olive Garden. Way wrong specters. Brianna, what's your favorite restaurant? No, she said Applebee's. Bridget, what's your favorite restaurant? What? Makota's. Yeah, that's pretty close. Harley? Cheddar's. Nope, that won't work. Okay, so what's your favorite restaurant? Chick-fil-A, Olive Garden. Whew, they're on the opposite sides of the spectrum. Nicole? What? Oh, the ramen noodle place. Makota's. Now, they're on the opposite sides of the spectrum, too. What do you have? What is your favorite? Cheddar's. Well, Olive Garden, Cheddar's, they're right there. And what did you say? Okay, so how many of you got, how many right did you get? You got 3 right, you got 4 right, you got 1 right, you got 4 right. Okay, how many did you get right? 2. How many did you get right? You got 2. Okay. Okay, the ones of you that got 4 right, I think there's 4 of you in there. Just leave your pens and your paper, and here's a snack pass. Who's got 4 right? Just leave your pads and your papers right there. Who got 4 right? 4 right? You got it right. Okay. Okay, guys, good. Well, I did all this. I did all this because the biblical characters that I'm talking about today are a group of friends. Some friends that made a definite choice to stick together. And what I kind of tried to show you is that sometimes we as friends, when we're friends, we find out a lot about each other. And one of the things that I didn't ask, because I really didn't want to embarrass anybody, was, do you know where your friend stands? Or I really didn't know how you would answer this in regards to their faith in God. Because that's the most important piece of information that you can find out about your friend. Because if your friend doesn't have 6th grades, I really need you to pay attention. If your friend does not have the same understanding and the same belief in God that you do, you might need to find another friend. And I know sometimes that sounds really tough, but the friends are the ones that are going to either encourage you to do the right thing or discourage you from doing the right thing or encouraging you to do the wrong thing. There's power in numbers. And if there's a group of you that have the same beliefs and the same direction in life that you want to go, you're going to help each other be accountable and help each other obtain that goal that you want to take. And so my lesson starts in Daniel. If you have your Bible, you can kind of follow along with me. It starts in Daniel chapter 1, and this is where the Babylonians had already taken the Jews back to Babylon. They were in exile, and so they were not, and the reason he kind of took them away is so that there wasn't power in numbers. Because there is power in numbers. If you have a group of people that have the same beliefs and the same dedication towards something, you've got strong. You're strong. You're not just standing by yourself. And Daniel and his 3 friends, I am sure the Bible doesn't tell us about their relationship in Jerusalem before they were taken to Babylon. But we do know from Daniel, the 1st chapter, that they stuck together. They have one primary belief, and that was they should follow God no matter what. I would hope that that would be a bond that you would make with your friend, that no matter what happens, no matter which direction we get pulled, no matter what we get tempted, we're going to encourage each other. We're going to keep each other accountable to make sure that we make the right decisions. And here in chapter 1, verse 7, we see, and the king appointed them a daily provision of the king's meals and the wine which he drank, so nourishing them 3 years, that at the end, therefore, they might stand before the king. Now, the stuff that the king had assigned for them to eat was against what God had told them to eat. And these 3 friends, going on in verse 6, now among these were the children of Judah, Daniel, Hananiah, Mishael, and Azariah, unto whom the prince of the eunuchs gave names, for he gave unto Daniel the name of Belshazzar, and to Hananiah of Shadrach, and to Mishael, Meshach, and to Azariah, Abednego. But Daniel purposed in his heart, and he would not defile himself with the portion of the king's meat. And these 4 men had made this decision that they were not going to go against their God. And God blessed them for that. And because of that, we know that the king made Daniel an advisor, and Daniel made his 3 friends, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, advisors in different provinces in these areas. Now, they continued to worship God as well as they could, but they couldn't go to the temple because they could not go back to Jerusalem. But they did their very best, and they prayed to their God, and they kept the commandments that God had given their forefathers many years ago. And these men, I'm sure, talked together and prayed together and encouraged each other to stay strong, to encourage them to continue to pray. And I'm sure that they even prayed together, because that's what good friends do. We go on further on into the book of Daniel, and we see in chapter 4, or chapter 3, that Nebuchadnezzar, the king, made an image. Now, Nebuchadnezzar was a pretty self-centered man, and he had forgotten some of the lessons that he had learned from Daniel about who Daniel's God was. But he made himself an image of gold, where height was 80 cubits, and the breadth thereof 6 cubits. And he set it up in the plains of Dura, in the province of Babylon. And he made a providence that when you hear all this music, when you hear the harps and the trumpets and all this music, you are to bow down and worship this statue of me. Now, these friends had a choice to make. What are we going to do? Are we going to do what the king wants us to do, or are we going to do what God wants us to do? Now, we don't know where Daniel was at this time. He must have been off. The Bible doesn't really tell us. Daniel is really not included in this story. But these 3 men, I'm sure, got together and prayed and said, God, what are we going to do? And we're not going to bow down and worship this image. But the king has made this proclamation that if you don't bow down and worship this image, this big hot furnace that's in front here that we fire bricks with, that we make things with, we're going to fire it up and we're going to throw you in the furnace. As I've studied these verses and as I've read these verses, I'm thinking, you know what? That's what happened when we do bow down to worship idols. That's our life eternal, is in that really, really hot furnace. But these men were having to make this decision. What are we going to do? Well, the music sounded, and they just went on about their business. Now, we know, and you should know, that if you're a friend and you're standing up for what's right, and we just got finished studying this in our Bible lessons, what happens when we do what's right? What can we expect? Somebody tell me, what can we expect? What did these men? What happened to Peter and John? What happened? Nobody remembers? They rejoiced over it. They were persecuted, right? They were persecuted. You stand up for what's right. You be a good friend, and you encourage your friends, and you guys do the things that are really against what the world is saying. And guys, the world is giving you some really bad advice. Some really bad advice. And I don't have to list all these things that the world is giving you the advice to do, because you all know it. And a lot of you, I know, have already said, that's okay. That's okay. That's what the world expects of us. It's not what God expects of us. King Nebuchadnezzar was the ruler of the land, and what he expected from everyone in that land was it was simple, guys, just bow down to the statue. Maybe you could just kind of fudge a little bit. I'll bow down, but I'll pray like I'm bowing down to God. No. No, because God knows your heart and the witness that you're giving to everybody else. And you can think of all the little temptations that you have in your life, and you can like, well, I'll just lie a little bit. Or I'll just cheat a little bit, because nobody will know. Your friend knows because you've told your friend. I know. I've been around this age group long enough. You don't ever keep your sins secret. You let your friends know. And most of the time, your friend is not a good enough friend to say, that was wrong. Your friend's just going to kind of laugh with you. They're not good enough friend to say, that was the wrong thing to do. You need to make that right. I'm behind you. I'm with you. I'll go with you. But you need to make it right. That's what a good friend does. That's what a true friend does. Keeps your friend accountable. And your friend should be doing the same thing for you. Well, these three guys, the music sounded, and they're like, okay, here's the test. And because Satan is always against the believers in God, there were men out there watching exactly what these three were going to do. And as soon as they didn't bow down when that music sounded, they ran to the king. Because that's what Satan wants to do. He wants to put as much pressure on a Christian, and much pressure on someone that's doing the right thing, that they will back away. Those three people that you've got in charge, they won't bow down to your statue. They won't do what you decreed. How dare you keep them? You need to do exactly what you said. Throw them in that furnace. Well, the king goes to... The king goes to these men. And he says, okay, listen, that decree was out there. You were supposed to bow down. Now, you're going to hear that music, and you're going to hear those harps, and you're going to hear those trumpets, and I want to see you bow down. The trumpet sounded, the harps sounded, and they just stood there. There's power in numbers. There's power when you're doing the right thing. And so the king was infuriated. He wasn't just angry, he was infuriated. And he not only said, throw him in the furnace, but he said, heat that furnace even hotter. Heat it up. Flames are flying out of the thing. And he says, tie them up and throw them in that furnace. He was so angry. How dare you not bow down to this image? How dare you disobey me? But you know, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego said something that was very powerful. They said, "O King Nebuchadnezzar, we are not careful to answer you in this manner. We're really giving you a clear-cut thought. We've thought this out. We know what we're going to say. It is, if it, well, they said, let's see. Now ye be ready that at what time you hear the sound, and they didn't bow down, which made, but if you worship not, you shall be thrown into the fire. Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego answered and said to the king, if it be so, our God, whom we serve, is able to deliver us. Now you notice he said, he is able to deliver us. Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego did not know what was going to happen. In fact, I'm sure they figured we're just going to burn up. But we're doing what's right in front of God. You know, when Peter was thrown in jail, he was beat. But he was not going to stop doing what was right for God. And these three men said, I'm sorry, if that's what happens, but our God is able to deliver us. He is able. But if God does not choose to deliver us, be it known unto thee, O king, that we will not serve thy God, nor worship the golden image which you've set up. Are you willing to put your life in God's hands like that? Are you willing to stand up for what is right and face whatever consequence comes? Which at your age, I'm sure the consequence is being mocked by your friends, being made fun of, or even ostracized. Nobody will talk to you. But are you willing to do that to please God? Or are you wanting to please men? And that was our verse this week. We ought to obey God rather than men. Well, it's very interesting that these men faced this together as very close friends, bound in the same faith that they had. We are going to stand together, and we are going to stand with God, with the God we know can deliver us, and if he doesn't, we're still going to do what he wants us to do. Well, you know the end of the story. Of course, I sure hope you know the end of the story. They were cast into this fire, and that fire was so hot that the guards that threw them in the fire burnt up. They didn't even get put in the furnace. They got killed outside of the furnace, and Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego were tossed in. They were tied up. They had all of their clothes on. Well, a little while later, King Nebuchadnezzar's looking through the flames, and he's like, he looks to his man over to the right. He said, how many men did we throw in there? He looks to the left. And he goes, I thought there was only 3. And they're like, yeah, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. He goes, but I'm seeing 4 men in the furnace, and they're walking around. And the 4th one is like the Son of God. Must have been a spectacular sight to call this 4th person walking around in the fire the Son of God. Well, he goes down and he says, call them out. He said, Shadrach, Meshach, Abednego, come out of there. And they walk out, but there's only 3. And what's so miraculous about it, not a hair on their head was singed. Their clothes were not singed, and they didn't even smell of smoke. And any of you that have ever had a campfire or a bonfire out in your backyard, you know you smell of smoke for a long period of time. These men were in the furnace walking around, but guess who that 4th man was? He was the Son of God. He was Jesus, who years later incarnates himself and comes to live here on earth. Power and number. And the one great thing about this is that when this was over, King Nebuchadnezzar said, nobody can speak wrong of the king, of the God that Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego serve, because I know he's a powerful God. So as you're choosing your friends, as you're going through life, and the ones that you choose to be your lifelong friend, make sure that you're choosing one that's strong enough to keep you up, strong enough and likes you enough to tell you when you're not doing the right thing, and to encourage you when you are, to encourage you to speak the right way, to say the right things, to act the right way. That friend that will keep you accountable. And I've heard many stories of friends that have gone through life keeping their friends accountable. Making sure. I knew a singing group many years ago, and their youngest member was engaged to be married. And he told a story about how his friend would always know when he came home. And his friend would always set his timer for about 10 minutes. And after he got home with his girlfriend, 10 minutes later, he'd go knocking on his door. Hey, I thought I'd come visit you. Just to keep him accountable. They had made that arrangement. They had made that arrangement prior because they both wanted to be pure and when they stood before God. And so they made this arrangement and they said, keep us accountable. You keep me accountable, I'll keep you accountable. Make sure that your friend is willing to keep you accountable. But most of all, make sure your friend has that same belief in God that you do, or they can't keep you accountable. And make sure you talk about things like this. Make sure you talk about what is your goal in life? What do you want to make sure you do and what you don't do? Those are the things that you should be discussing with your friends. And those are the things that your friends should help you. If they're truly your friends, they'd go to the fire furnace with you. Let's pray. Dear Heavenly Father, I just pray that Lord, you know my heart breaks for some of these children. I see their reaction to you. I see their reaction to each other. I know what lies ahead. I know what they have to deal with. I know the temptations and the persecution. I know the world that they're about to enter. And I pray that they would have the courage, first of all, that they would have the belief in you, and they would have the courage to follow you and to encourage each other to do the same thing. We ask all this in your precious Son's name. Amen.